Okay, thank you for your patience. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to MOX 11 Demo Day. My name is TR Harrington and I'm a partner and the co-program director at MOX, and I will be your host for today. We are very excited to share our latest batch of 6 amazing startups with you today. The MOX 11 batch comes to us today from Singapore, Pakistan, India, and our first ever investment in a startup from Egypt. Many of our founders are serial entrepreneurs, including 3 founders with prior exits, and even a repeat team of founders. To date, these fast-growing startups have accumulated more than $1 million in sales, and some of our startups are growing more than 30% month on month. Before we get to the startups, William Balbine will introduce our fund, SOSV, and a little bit more about our ever-expanding cross-border ecosystem. But first, we will begin today's event with a fireside chat discussion between William and our VIP guests. So please help me welcome and our first guest, Twitch co-founder, Kevin Lin.
Thanks, TR. So Kevin, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Maybe just kick off with a brief introduction of yourself. That'd be great.
Sure. Thanks for having me. My name's Kevin Lin. I'm a co-founder and former COO of Twitch. I joined Justin TV back in 2008, just as they were starting to launch the public platform as chief operating officer. And then in 2011, we launched 2 new products. One was SocialCam, which was a mobile app for video sharing, dubbed as Instagram, but video back then, before Instagram had video. And then Twitch, which was a live streaming platform for gamers in 2011. Since then, I just left recently in November. I've just been mostly angel investing and then trying to get something new off the ground.
Awesome. So, I mean, Twitch obviously started off in the US, but it quickly became a global phenomenon. As the COO there, you oversaw that global expansion. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to expand to Asia, to expand cross-border within Asia?
Sure. Yeah. For us, it was kind of always panic inducing. It would start as organic growth. We were a free platform to stream yourself or anything you were doing across. Oh, starting to get some echo. Okay. Sorry, it's gone. What was I saying? Yeah. So we would grow relatively organically, but because we were a very creator-centric platform and we were English only, we had a lot of hard decision making to do in terms of how we would actually deploy both a team, but also consider internal resources towards internationalization or localization. So we were growing in Europe, we were growing out in Asia, really without any marketing or meaningful active effort. But we had to do something about it. Everything from operational costs were soaring, delivering video into Taiwan and Japan and Korea, especially as an example, very expensive. And so we had to make these hard decisions on, well, how do we do this? Do we think about monetization in these markets? Do we think about peering negotiation? Do we think about telecom relationships? Or do we say, okay, it's worth the growth. Let's sacrifice a little bit of cost for now, just to make sure we gain and stay ahead in the market. And the biggest thing, though, is when it came to our creator teams, which was the large part of our early internationalization, as in we didn't necessarily have to hire engineering or product teams in market. We primarily had to focus on partnerships and eventually business development, game companies and media companies and sales. But we always wanted to hire from the community at first. Asia, as an example, while very expensive and difficult for us to monetize, we decided early on it would be a real bummer if we lost the market. And there were all these competitors popping up. Many native to countries. Korea had a platform called Africa TV. Japan had Nico Nico, but we were making pretty big gains because we had this really focused wedge in the games community. And so we started to hire very slowly at first, but carefully, folks that understood the community, that were native to the Twitch community, to help manage the partnerships that we had out there, the creator relationships. And that really helped, was really hiring people that knew that market and were really part of that community already. Mona Hu was our first hire in Asia here in Taiwan. Taipei was our #1 city from an engagement, daily engagement perspective. And so we thought, okay, this is a market worth learning from. They were obsessed with our product. They're watching more on a daily basis than any other city, any other country in the world. What's going on? And so we made that commitment. The commitments we didn't make were translation of the website. And so we'd never translated it in Chinese, which was really difficult and painful actually for our team as it grew out here, because basic things like discovery were really difficult. And so we made these trade-offs, these conscious efforts of how do we make sure we stay in market, we learn from the market, we grow in the market efficiently, and sort of having this tug of war relationship with the community where it was good enough of a product, it worked for the basics, but it was a little painful to use at times. One major thing I find here that a lot of startups make is they send people from their market to another market to try to learn and understand it without hiring out there. That feels like a mistake and rarely works from a giant company level all the way down to startups.
Awesome. And so I think you often said, when you were early days of Twitch and you were fundraising, Silicon Valley VCs just didn't really understand it. They're like, what? Why would somebody watch somebody, play video games? So we've got, 300 VCs signed up for this event, and they're coming in now. But what advice would you actually give to VCs? And I know you're doing some investing now, but as a entrepreneur who went through that fundraising process, what do you think it takes to be, what advice would you give?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, so we spent, we had really horrible timing. So we went through the recession. We launched Twitch coming out of the recession. We were profitable miraculously as a company. Twitch itself as a property was not profitable yet. We hadn't built a lot of the core monetization tools when we were raising. We started to raise in 2011. We had just launched our subscription platform. We were just getting some early data on that, but we didn't have great data yet. But we were one of the fastest growing websites in the world. And we had 60 minutes of engagement at the time. By 2012, we had 90 minutes of daily engagement. And yet we struggled to raise money for our Series B in 2012. Partly to blame is the recession, of course, but partly to blame is probably us. We just didn't necessarily pitch very well. We pitched this long-term vision. We pitched a lot of data. And somehow people just didn't believe the fundamental habit we were tapping into, which was there was a whole generation of people that watch each other play video games. And so I think a lot of the feedback we got from that round was almost too data heavy. I'd say the great majority of VCs were too data heavy, and they were too finance obsessed. They were too worried, again, understandably because of the recession, they were too worried that our revenue would never keep up with our growth. And we tried to reassure them that we had all these ideas for monetization tools that we hadn't launched yet. And this was feedback from creators. We weren't coming out of thin air inventing fake monetization. This was things that they were asking for and that we tested in surveys with their community members. So I think it was an over focus on numbers. They were really excited about the growth, but too worried about the finances. The other side of it was just on the fundamental basis, like really digging in and understanding behavior, user behavior, what are customers actually doing and what's broken about it? And for us, it was very hard for VCs to grok. Like they just didn't believe people play video games. Many of them didn't play video games. And in fact, as a 39-year-old now, I don't have kids. I don't know what kids really do. And so taking the time to see creatures in the real life doing things is I think the best way to learn, but really taking off any hats of general incredulousness of like, oh, there's no way, like my whole group of friends doesn't do this. There's no way other people do this. And there's no way people watch each other do this in our case. You just have to kind of take that hat off. Of course, in general, you're always investing in founders. I think by our Series C, the groups that were able to come in on our Series C had spent the time from when we started pitching in 2011 all the way to 2013, being sincere friends of the company, helping us out, offering us intros, checking in every now and then. And Series C was much easier to fill because we had already proven growth. We proved out a new revenue model. We still weren't profitable yet, but our growth was skyrocketing and our revenue was starting to catch up. And so we had our choice, luckily, for our Series C, which was about a little over a year later. But it was those who had bothered to keep in touch with us and really keep in a strong relationship with us that ultimately won out. The last thing I'll say is these days, I mean, there's so many alternative funding options, particularly in the seed stage. There's angels, there's syndicates of angels, there's like hyper-focused pre-seed and seed funds that have low, minimum terms. I don't know exactly what's going on in the market out here, but certainly in America, I think I am seeing as an angel investor, VCs starting to have to extrapolate out a lot of terms that they appreciated in the past. And so it's really thinking, okay, if you need to move with speed and do a good deal that still works for you, you might have to start having flexibility on those things, right? Pro rata, MFN, I think those are still pretty good, pretty fair terms, but a lot of other terms, board seats, or at least future commitment of board seats, like a lot of founders kind of have the choice of selecting that out now. And so I think it's just really starting to compromise on specific terms like that. But what a lot of accelerators do a good job of teaching founders is like, you still have to feel like you like the investors. And so it's really selling yourself as much as, I think VCs have to sell themselves more these days, is the simple way of saying it.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get divorced than it is to get rid of your VC, right? So you're in there for the long term. Divorce, at least in California, you just cut the assets in half. But your VC, you got to get somebody else to come in and buy them out, right? One of the things you often talk about is like, people just don't get it, right? Sitting where you are today, doing some investing on your own, what do you think are the things that people are just not getting today? Like, what are you interested in? What do you think? You give one or two examples of things that you think are, will be obvious in the future, but not so obvious today.
Yeah, I mean, in my world, kids are growing up with mobile phones, and what do they do primarily? Play games. And games it's finally coming out of the stigmatized version of video games, which is that it's a time waster. It's gone all the way, in fact, to the point now where there are perfectly legal and acceptable ways that you can play games and make money. That's the promise of NFTs for the gaming industry. And in fact, you're starting to see that happen now with games like Axie Infinity. People are making 3 to 4x their local income in parts of Southeast Asia just playing a video game. And that is an economy that is growing incredibly rapidly that I think a lot of people are unaware of. But beyond that, there's 5G and cloud is really bolstering not just the broader entertainment industry, but certainly the games industry. You can render higher quality content, more complex video games on a mobile phone now. The mobile phone technology is obviously getting better and better every single year. You got AR and VR on the horizon. And so I think it's just a very exciting time to be in this particular industry. But I'd say the thing I'm thinking about the most these days is from an economic standpoint, what do NFTs really mean for this industry? Beyond that, other stuff I love. I mean, sustainability stuff. A lot of obviously everyone wants to get into the space. I think there's a lot more technology out there in surprising places that are easily commercializable that you really need to dig for. I think everything related to COVID from a remote work perspective, remote learning, online education is really interesting. Telemedicine, biotech. I don't understand, but I am becoming increasingly fascinated by the simple thought of like, we're finally starting to understand how to process DNA better and extrapolate real usable data from that. And that the penetration of people who are willing to take these tests is increasing fast. And so what happens? How does medicine change after that? Is a really fascinating space. Again, I don't really understand it that well, but I find it really interesting. And then there's just like the fast adoption of what's going on in the West everywhere else. And seeing a lot of local homebrew startups attacking those problems by quote unquote, what used to be a bad word, copying, but totally reasonable to do. You can move faster. You understand the regulatory space, particularly in things like fintech, where a lot of action's happening. and crypto. So yeah, that's a lot of random stuff, but there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in the world.
Awesome, awesome. And then I didn't actually ask you about this when we were chatting before, but do you feel like maybe pitching us one of your companies? I used to pitch your own startups, but from your portfolio, anybody you feel like pitching to the investors in the audience?
Oh gosh, like an earlier stage one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, sure. Why not?
I'm trying to think. What did I look at recently?
If it's something that you invested in, it's fine. You can pitch your
Yeah,
own
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good, like a really, really younger one. Gosh. Okay. One that personally is important to me. This company called Dawn. They're building a sort of daily habit app to help you defeat insomnia through cognitive behavioral therapy. Their focus being on actually very, very small weekly habit changes. I've tried so many different apps that help with sleep, calm meditation apps, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing's really worked for me. And so they start you with very, very simplistic steps that are actionable and show you how you're actually gaining sleep and reducing sleep debt over time. Simple things like start waking up at the same time, regardless of what time you go to bed, which is not counterintuitive, but it's non-obvious. A lot of people do basic sleep hygiene stuff like, oh, I'll turn off the lights at a certain time. I'll try not to use my phone in bed. I'll try not to stay in bed if I'm not asleep. That actually is all sleep hyperarousal. That's actually thinking too much about sleep. And so they give you things like actionable, measurable, results based activities.
Awesome.
Really,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, no, that's
Really
great. I
cool.
mean, we have a company called Sana, which is a mask that plays sounds and I think lights, and it actually is used to treat chronic pain, people with chronic pain. In fact, a lot of people with chronic pain, it's so bad that they often die after 2 or 3 years because they get sleep deprivation. It hurts so much that they can't sleep. So this mask puts them to sleep. And so I highly recommend it
Interesting.
for anybody
I'll have
who
to check
wants
it out.
to go to sleep quickly. We have our team members, and some of them got stuck in the U.S. They can get back to Asia because of COVID, and so recommended it to them. And I mean, it's not like 10 minutes and instantly asleep, but it cut it down from maybe tossing and turning for an hour and a half down to maybe 30 minutes, which is a significant material improvement. Awesome. So
huge.
Kevin, thank you so much for sharing. Really
Thank you for having me.
appreciate it. Yeah, awesome. And thanks for sticking around and checking out the pitches. So with that, I'll kick it back to TR.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, William. Thank you, Kevin. We now have our next guest speaker. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, co-founder and managing partner of Gsr Ventures, Peng T. Ong.
Okay, so you got me again. Sorry. So Peng, really appreciate you coming and being with us here today. I mean, we go back quite a long time, I guess, over a decade now. When you were on the board of Singtel Group, and I was one of the 3 founding MDs in Singtel Innovate, the corporate VC arm there. I'm not sure we met before that, but could have been. Yeah, so if you could just
one prerequisite, I would love one of those masks you're talking about.
Yeah, no problem. I know that they're available in the US. I'll try and figure out how to get one down to you. Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but well, I'm actually traveling back and forth right now, so I just got back to Shanghai from the U.S. So next time we'll figure it out. So I think we have your address because we sent you the wine the other time. Yeah. So yeah, if you could just briefly introduce yourself, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, my name is Peng T. Ong, and China is about the only place they get my name wrong because it's Peng and not Peng. It's not pinging. I spent most of my school years and early years, about 18 years in the US, went to school there from Singapore. I'm from Singapore, and then started companies, did a whole bunch of startups, and ended up funding a few of my own. Match was the first one. Second was Interwoven. Took that one public. Match finally went public like 20 years later. And then did a company called Incentuate, which was sold to IBM. Spent a little bit of time at IBM and realized, oh, that's big corporations. And then decided to look for my roots in China and ended up in a firm called Gsr Ventures. They're actually back officed in Palo Alto. But got to do interesting deals. We were in TT Series A, we were in Ulama in the seed round, so it's lots of huge growth. And I saw the patterns going from China at the certain GDP per capita they were at, and then growing out of that using tech. And I saw it happening or starting to happen in Southeast Asia. So about 7-8 years ago, me and an old colleague started a company called Gsr Ventures, a fund, VC fund, Gsr Ventures, and started investing. Our first deal, Ninja Van, is now pushing quite a huge chunk of revenues. Hopefully within a few years, you know a lot more about them. They're probably the largest last mile delivery in Southeast Asia now. You can grow big businesses fairly fast these days.
Awesome. So I think, when I was running the China investment for SoftBank in China, this is the old days when they were backing like kind of early stage funds, and we were SoftBank China India. But SoftBank has now grown into, a megalith vision fund. And they're, at least for a while they're using money as a weapon. But for MOX, we've grown our ecosystem from 6 million monthly active users in 2019 to over 90 million today. And that's with a customer acquisition cost of 0. And that's through cross promotion for revenue share. And so, we try and say that we use trust as a weapon because there's nothing, there's no gateway or anything magical and it's very difficult to get people to, to give that revenue share if there's no trust. So, you talk a lot about trust over transactions. Could you share a little bit about what that's like, in practice
Sure.
and your thoughts there? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me start maybe with a little bit of observations about the tech world that we live in today. You pick up a book, even a technical book, it's all about transactions, right? And you pick up a business model, business strategy book, it's all about pushing transactions. Look at Google. Last year you do a Google search, maybe the first few lines are ads. Today you do a Google search and the whole page is ads, right? Everyone's pushing transactions because that's the model on how to make money, right? And the side effects are that it's getting more and more expensive to push transactions by buying from Google, Facebook's the leads, and then converting that to revenues and therefore profits. I'll tell you the story in terms of one of the strategies we've run with one of our companies. So it's at least a concrete example. So this company is a recruiting company. It's got this flywheel that places candidates into jobs, right? It's very simple. And they use tech to improve the productivity of that whole process. But that's not the focus here. What we realized 3-4 years ago is that once you place a candidate into a job, it's just like dating, right? Once you succeed with one of your users, you lose them, right? They get married and you lose them. So in this case, they get a job and we lose them, and we have to reacquire them 3, 4, 5 years later, right? And what we also realized is as the market, the ad inventory saturates, right? The users of the ad inventory saturates, the price just goes up like that. So your per unit cost over time just escalates. So we are sitting down with the founder at that point, trying to figure out what's the best way to avoid that in the long term, right? Short term is okay, but once they start growing and the competitors start growing, it's going to get expensive. So we came up with this idea. It started off as just an idea to fix the problem of basically generating your own traffic, right? Don't count on Google and Facebook, but start building up a portal, right? The name of the company is Glints, and I call this strategy, this is my name for it, right? Uncle Glints, right? So you have users that go to the portal, the website, Uncle Glints, what should I do in my life? Uncle Glints, should I be a software engineer or electrical engineer or civil engineer? Uncle Glints, am I being underpaid, right? So you start building a relationship in one of the most important areas in people's lives, their purpose, their jobs, their career, right? And you start building this trust from, they're working with young professionals now, but they're going to move all the way up to high school kids and so on. And you build this trust and you never violate that trust. It's always about helping the individual, and you can automate that with AI, with data, with communities, etc. And this strategy has lowered the cost of acquisition for Glints by about an order of magnitude over the last 3-4 years. So just talking about business, it makes sense. But if you think about how do you scale a big company, you're not going to be able to outcompete everybody else on transactions because it's using money as a weapon, as William just talked about it, right? So what we realize is this is a very excellent way to just maintain your in crowd, basically a group of people that trust you. This could be 100 million people that trust you, right? Because you've been straight with them all their lives, you've been helpful with them all their lives. And occasionally they'll need a job and you make a few $1,000 there. And that's how we look at growing this particular company to be a huge company. But we also see this as a general strategy now. We think about applying this in financial services, in relationships, in homes, in healthcare, etc. So I rambled on a bit, but I wanted to give the example.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing that to some extent. I mean, whenever we ran the innovation program for NTUC in Singapore, and they're kind of like, they're weird because on the one side they have insurance, and the other side they have a supermarket, right? And so, they give it to for MOX. What we're doing with some of these communities, and maybe we can partner with Uncle Glints there, is that you might place them into the job, but we also provide them training and upskilling. We're also we're credit scoring them and offer them loans and financing, mortgages. We're also providing them group buys so that they can buy food and staples at a lower price. So this is something that we're doing with one of our companies for kind of more blue collar labor in Indonesia called My Robin. It's having that trust allows you to almost become an advisor, not just in that one area, but in many areas. It's kind of like a trust-based super app. So we come together for these MOX demo days every 6 months, and 6 months on the one hand is a very short time, but in tech and in Asia, it's actually a very long time. So I just want to get a sense of one or two trends or things that have changed over the last 6 months that you'd like to share, things that you're focused on.
Okay, just generally, we've noticed an incredible increase in the number of good entrepreneurs doing interesting deals. I don't know what it is about COVID that's caused that, or maybe something else has caused it, but we've never been busier in a whole 8 years as a VC firm, right? And I'm assuming you're seeing that too on your end, William? Yeah,
so I mean, I'm supposed to max out around 44 investments a year. I know it's a lot, but last year we did 39, the year before we did 39. And so far, I think we've done 37 and 36 investments this year. And it's, it's August. So we're kind of running extremely hot right now.
Yeah. So, and very busy because you have all these deals to look at. So yeah, we're having the same problems. It's a good problem, but it's a bandwidth issue now. It's fast. Some anthropologists should go take a look at what happened there. I have no idea. It turns out this is the case globally, right? If you talk to folks in the US or Europe, it's happening all over the world. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, we couldn't do it without our 450 plus mentors who volunteer their time. So thanks to all the mentors. So the last question I have is, I mean, you know, we've got a lot of investors in the audience here, and then the communities join through the live stream. So put you on the spot. Love for you to pitch one of your portfolio companies. You know, maybe not for funding, but yeah, maybe for funding.
We just funded them, so it'll be a while before. William gave me a heads up on this, and my response was, it's hard to pick one of your kids to highlight, but I did it. I like this group is called Coder School. It's out of Vietnam, and they were a Berkeley graduate. He believed that he could bring a lot of value by teaching the smart engineers in Southeast Asia how to code properly, professionally. And he started it as a offline school, right? It was a regular school, and COVID basically forced him to rethink, number one, how he needs to do business, but number two, the scale of impact he could have. And he figured out a formula that enables, a few proctors. He still doesn't believe, obviously, in just totally digital, right? He still have proctors and lecturers. How to have only a few of them affect a large number of students, right? Cover a large number of students, and he's cranking up the business. I think he's going to have a huge impact in our ecosystem. So that's why I'm excited about it. If you do emerging market investing, you one of the things you do is think about the impact you have, right? So, and you know this, Will. So very excited about the team.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Peng. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing. That's the time that we have. So thanks again. And back to TR.
Okay, thank you so much, Peng. Really appreciate the sharing. Thank you, William, for lining up the speakers, for sharing today. And now the time has come for our startup pitches. So let me remind our audience. Oh, wait, sorry. We have one more thing before the startup pitches, which is William's going to quickly go through SOSV and the cross-border ecosystem. So back to you, William.
Yeah, sure. So this is this advertisement for ourselves. We are a little complicated. So we're SOSV and we're global. We are very different than most VCs that are global, and that we're one fund and every partner is investing all around the world. The way we invest is by vertical. So we have hacks for hardware, we have IndieBio for life sciences, and then for cross-border internet, we're helping companies from around the world expand cross-border to Asia, and from Asia in their home countries in Asia, cross-border within Asia. Our fund is up to 990 million in assets under management. We have over 1,100 portfolio companies, and we do make money. Kind of floats around a little bit, but 22% net IRR over the last 14 odd years. The thing that's a bit different than us is that we do invest in quite a lot of companies. So as of Q2, we're the most active seed and angel stage investor in the world. We are also the number 3 most active VC in the world. And this is Q2 numbers. It kind of bounces around a little bit, but last year we were, for the entire year, number 5 most active in Asia and the rest of the world. Now we're 14, and it'll come back in Q3. The key markets for us we started in China with China Accelerator 11 years ago as the first accelerator in China and in Asia. Since then, we've expanded, so quite active in Southeast Asia, then India, and now starting over the last year, active in Pakistan. You'll see 2 of our most recent investments in Pakistan pitched today. So there's a diverse portfolio that we have. But the key for cross-border internet is we are the #2 most active investor in media in the world and the #3 most active in machine learning. For SOSV so far, we invested in a lot of companies. We've only invested about $300 million so far, but after we invested that $300 million, our companies have gone on to raise over $4 billion US. And today, very happy to intro MOX. So MOX is just think MOX consumer, mobile only, people from around the world, their first experience and their only experience on the internet is on mobile. So we're all about accelerating the growth of mobile first, mobile only companies. So how do we do that? Well, we can do it without our mentors, as I mentioned before. We have over 480 mentors. But what MOX really comes down to is we give free advertising to our companies. So Peng mentioned it, you have to spend a lot of money to get a user. It's very transactional. Companies like Google, Facebook, and Apple, Amazon, they dominate the global advertising market, and they make it very expensive for entrepreneurs to scale up their business. It doesn't matter how good your product is. It doesn't matter how much people love them, but no one will be able to see them unless they raise a lot of money, use money as a weapon, buy users, and hemorrhage money for Series A, B, C, and in the process give away their entire company. So we think that's screwed up. So what we do is we partner with our corporate partners who give free advertising to our portfolio companies. And then once our portfolio companies get a user, they cross-promote each other. And then there's monetizations. They make money and then they revenue share back to whoever gave them that original user. So we're an ecosystem model. The money comes generally from 4 areas. The 2 main ones are e-commerce and financial. So we start with something that's sticky, like a media app, but then we monetize through e-commerce and financial services. So we couldn't do it without our partners. So these are some of the partners that give us this free advertising. We're pre-installed in every Samsung in India and also in South Korea. We're pre-installed in every Xiaomi in India. That's 50% smartphone market share in India, where we've got a lot of apps in Reliance Jio, the #1 telco in India, for example. And this is not just India, not just South Korea, but across Asia. And now we're expanding beyond. So far, we've grown quite a lot. We have 94 million monthly active users in the ecosystem, which is up from 50 million a year ago and 6 million the year before that. So scaling, and again, this is all with basically a customer acquisition cost of 0. Right now, our companies have, the ones that we've invested in MOX have raised 138 million, and very proud to announce that the valuation of the ecosystem has exceeded now $1 billion US. So I'm gonna just give 3 rough intros for some of our companies. So Gsr was last batch earlier this year. What they do is they connect mom and pop shops in Pakistan with suppliers. Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry, muted him. So they connect mom and pops with suppliers. They solve the problem of getting supply quickly, and they lower the price that the mom and pop shops have to pay for that supply. They're scaling extremely quickly. Pakistan is taking off. They just hit 40,000 plus retailers. And earlier this year, a couple months ago, they closed a $3.5 million pre-A round, and they're currently raising their Series A. So if you're interested in digitizing those mom and pops and really enabling small retailers to not get killed by e-commerce, check out Gsr. Second company was end of last year. And this is a tried and true model in China and other markets. Mobi Garage, they take used smartphones, refurbish them, and then resell them at a very, very low price, 70% lower than a new smartphone. And that actually makes money. That makes good money. But above and beyond that, we are preloading those smartphones with MOX apps and services, and we're going to double or triple their lifetime value per user because they'll make money not just on the phone, but also on the revenue share they get from the MOX apps and services that they preload. And then last but not least, we're going way back in time. I started investing in India internet in 2005. When I was at Deutsche Bank, we did Rediff. We won the mandate for Naukri and InfoEdge, and we did On Mobile, which we invested in, and it went public. Then it went to unicorn. It's probably the first Indian mobile internet unicorn. Unfortunately, they didn't make the transition to smartphones, and they died. But we came back. I came back to India about 3 or 4 years ago. Done about 50 plus investments in the last 2 years. One of the early ones is Kootloot. E-commerce is huge and growing very quickly in India, but social commerce is really taking off. Kootloot's in social commerce. They're kind of like the Taobao or you could say eBay, person-to-person e-commerce platform. So they've scaled to a top 15 e-commerce platform in all of India. They've taken their customer acquisition costs down by 84%. Because of social and because of cross promotion, such that they've gotten to where they are with over 100,000 active stores, GMV growing 2.6 times in the last year, and they've done it with only $2 million in funding. So extremely capital efficient. They're now looking to raise a $25 million Series A after a $2 million pre-A, and looking to take it to the next level. So those are the three companies that we have. With this, I'm going to kick it back to TR to introduce our MOX 11. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Okay. Thank you so much, William, and apologies for jumping ahead in the order and not letting William have his moment to give us a little bit of background on SOSV and MOX. But we have now finally arrived at that time where we can start introducing the MOX 11 startups. So with that, I would like to welcome our first startup at MOX 11 Demo Day. Please help me welcome Bounty Media.
Thank you, TR, and welcome to Bounty Media. I'd like to introduce you to Eka. Eka is 24 and she lives in Jakarta, Indonesia, where she works as an office administration assistant. Eka loves going to the movies twice a week with her friends, and she shops online from her favorite sellers on Shopee. She listens to her favorite artists on Spotify, and she chats with her friends on TikTok and Instagram. We know this because all the while Eka is being tracked by third-party cookies, following her and collecting data on her every day. Big internet companies like Google, Apple, Facebook collect data on Eka and consumers like her. And they make hundreds of billions of dollars every year with this data, by using this data to help brands target advertising to Eka. And Eka has no way to control who sees her data, and she gets nothing for it. But new privacy laws are changing everything. New regulations across the world are requiring platforms and brands to obtain consent from consumers like Eka before using her data. And big internet companies like Google and Facebook are using this as an excuse to make consumers like Eka invisible to the brands. Big internet actually wants to control how and when the brands are able to reach Eka. They want to make it so brands can only reach consumers like Eka through them, effectively cutting off the brands from their customers. We're Bounty Media, And we've completely reversed this model. Bounty allows brands to reward Eka in return for Eka building a direct relationship with the brand, effectively cutting out big internet. Let me show you how this works. Firstly, Eka is like a lot of us. Say she finds an article that she wants to read in a newspaper, but then she's taken and she's asked to actually pay money to subscribe, and she leaves. Or she finds a song that she wants to listen to on a music app. Again, she's asked to pay money to subscribe. And again, she leaves. Or her friends tell her about a new TV series to watch. When she hits the streaming app, she's asked to pay money to subscribe. But this time it's different. Eka sees a free option where she doesn't have to pay. It says a brand will pay, free, gratis. She clicks. Now, instead of paying money, Eka just has to fill in this form with her name, email, phone, and a few questions the brand wants to ask her. Then she just clicks to accept. Eka receives an email verification from the brand to ensure that she's a real person. She clicks this, and here she finds a redeem code. Now she can go back to the app for a full premium experience without having to pay cash. At this point, Eka just clicks and watches the movie. All of this is powered by Bounty Media. Our platform manages which brands pay for which subscribers. Here, brands create a reward campaign. They set a maximum budget they're willing to spend, and they set a maximum price per user. Then they choose a target audience, which say from 20 to 30-year-olds. Then they can target a specific gender, a country, a city. And finally, they choose the type of content they want Eka to interact with in return for the reward. For example, here, a video subscription. Then at the end of that, they choose whether they want Eka to verify via phone or email. From here, they customize their form, creating custom terms and conditions, creating custom questions. Then they push the campaign live. It runs, offering free subscriptions to millions of users. Once the campaign's finished, the advertiser brand comes back to the Bounty dashboard, and it's here that they receive Eka's details and survey answers, together with behavioral data based on what she watches, listens to, or reads after opting in. This data is captured with a privacy-compliant Bounty ID and usable by the brand to learn more about Eka and communicate directly with her. We help brands who spend $450 billion across the world on digital advertising to connect directly with consumers and bypass third parties, to get zero-party data directly from consumers with their consent. Why we're better? Eka gets rewarded, making her want to engage and volunteer her information instead of getting nothing from Google and Facebook and a lot. Secondly, we do it with Eka's consent, which is compliant with new privacy regulations globally. I'm Klaus Loberg. I've previously founded and raised $180 million for a global music app that we scaled to 15 countries, 15 million users. I've pitched and won deals worth $1 billion in advertising with global brands, including Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Microsoft, and many more. My co-founder, Jake, ran a music streaming app in Asia, scaling it from 0 to 1 million users in 5 months. Before that, he built a $10 million sales pipeline for an advertising platform in Indonesia in just 6 months. On the publisher side, we've already partnered with Indonesia's largest video streaming services, View and Video, which gives us access to 70 million monthly active users. We're also onboarding some of the world's biggest brands, and we have revenue today from some of Indonesia's largest. These include Gsr, Gsr, and 99Co. Our pipeline over the past 3 months has grown to 245,000 MRR, and this represents 6 million consent-based data points paid for by advertiser brands. Right now, we're raising 1.5 million. I'd like to catch up after this and show you how we're changing the global advertising and data model. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Klaus and Bounty Media. Investors, please take a moment to indicate your relative interest in Bounty Media. And while you are doing so, our next startup is preparing their slides to follow up. Okay. All right. So thank you again, Bounty Media. Please help me welcome our next startup from MOX 11, the one and only One Trolley.
Thank you, TR. Ayman is a 55-year-old from Egypt living in Cairo. He runs his family's restaurant Mermaid on Road 9 in Maadi, one of the most famous streets for shops and restaurants in the city. Since COVID, fewer people are coming to the restaurant, but the number of customers ordering delivery has taken off. E-commerce is still underdeveloped in Egypt. As such, Ayman's customers don't order online. They call the restaurant and ask the restaurant to deliver. In fact, restaurant delivery for most of the 100 million Egyptians is unorganized. People just call directly on the phone to order. Ayman now spends most of his time handling phone orders, finding riders to deliver, and managing payment. But he still isn't fast enough to handle all the calls, and his customers are leaving him because of problems with deliveries. But then one day, Delivery Hero approaches Ayman. They offer to place Ayman's restaurant on their food delivery app. But then comes the catch. Delivery Hero wants 27% of Ayman's revenue on every order. And Delivery Hero asks Ayman to offer a 20% discount on every online customer's first order, which means Ayman will lose money. On top of that, Delivery Hero only delivers to their existing customers. They don't help with Mermaid's other customers. This means Ayman will still have to handle all his phone orders. And these phone orders represent 90% of the delivery volume in Egypt. In comes One Trolley, the only end-to-end solution in Africa and the Middle East that empowers retailers and restaurants by helping them digitize their phone orders and manage their last mile delivery at a very low cost. Let me walk you through it. So to begin with, Ayman can download the app from a Google store. He will put in his details, his restaurant details, the location of the restaurant, the mobile number he uses, and very quickly we will be able to verify his account. Once this is done, he can choose one of the packages we've got for digitizing his store. And once he does that, he could pay by credit card or cash through an integrated wallet. Once he does pay for the subscription, he's good to go and start digitizing the store, which in itself is a very simple process. For standard SKUs, he could just scan the barcode, picture, he will put in his price that you have. Standard SKUs like food items, he could take a photo, upload a photo, and then add the price to that as well. Once this is done, he will be able to publish the store, and within seconds, the store will be on our consumer app along with other multi-category stores in that neighborhood. Say Ayman wants to deliver an order that came by phone. All he needs to do is put in the number of the customer. Everything will auto-populate, put in how much he's willing to pay for delivery, and press request. On the other end, the pilot would have opened his app in the morning, and he will be getting the request. He will accept the request, go to Ayman's place, take the order, upload the invoice, pay him in cash, take the product and deliver it to the consumer where he will get paid from them directly. Now, there are the market in Egypt is estimated to be at $50 billion today. And there are over 300,000 retailers like Ayman in Egypt alone who are facing issues with last mile delivery and transitioning from phone orders to online ordering. The market for online ordering is $5.2 billion today, but is expected to be more than double by 2025. The untapped potential is huge. Less than 10% of orders in Egypt are made online, And One Trolley stands apart because we focus on digitizing the 90%. And these 90% are the ones that get deliveries directly through the phone. We then later help them transition to online ordering as well. We are the only player in the Middle East and Africa offering an end-to-end solution from digitization to last mile delivery. We are a team of experienced executives used to scaling up businesses across the region with multinational companies, including Unilever, Coca-Cola, British American Tobacco. I was the youngest area director in the tobacco, managing $1 billion business and annual revenue across 23 countries in Middle East and North Africa. I drove growth more than 2 times in 2 years in Saudi Arabia, from $30 million to over $70 million, and by 25 times in Jordan in 3 years, from £500,000 to £12.5 million. I later went on to head National Food Products Company in the UAE as their COO, managing over 5,000 employees and driving the business to its highest profit in history. We have signed leading restaurants and grocery chains, including More International Group, Saudi and Cold Stone. Our users love us. On average, we're seeing 24.52 orders per user. And this has helped drive our number of orders to a growth of 16% month on month over the last 12 months to hit 100,000 orders in July. And they are spending. We are seeing an average cart size of $29.8. We have more than doubled our GMV in 2021 and hit month-on-month growth of 56% in July versus June to achieve $333,000 for July alone. We are raising $1.5 million, and I hope you can join us as we digitize retailers and restaurants across Africa and Middle East. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Waleed. And One Trolley. As before, investors, please take a moment to indicate your relative interest in One Trolley. And while you are doing so, our next startup has already got their slides up on the screen. So just give us another maybe 5 to 10 seconds for people to respond, and then we can move forward. Okay, looks like we are ready to go. Okay, well, thank you again, One Trolley. For our next MOX 11 startup, please help me welcome to the stage, Smart Choice.
Thanks, TR. Meet Ali. Ali lives in Karachi, Pakistan. Karachi is the largest city in Pakistan with 20 million population. Ali works at a textile factory as a production supervisor. He makes enough money to meet his basic needs like food, rent, and his children's school fees. And at the end of the month, he even saves a little money. Every evening, he comes home to his wife and 2 kids. They live in a comfortable 2-bedroom apartment. But one day, his youngest son, Ahmed, becomes ill. Ahmed does get better after a few days, but Ali isn't sure what's wrong. Ali takes the day off work and takes his son to the hospital. The doctor does a few tests and the news is good. With surgery, Ahmed will get better. But the surgery is going to cost 150,000 Pakistani rupees. That's 1,000 US dollars. The surgery will not just wipe out Ali and his family's savings, but Ali will have to also get a $200 loan as well. If only Ali had basic health insurance, Ahmed's surgery would have been covered under health insurance plan. Ali isn't alone. There are 200 million people in Pakistan who do not have insurance coverage. They understand that insurance is important for when something bad happens. But finding insurance products is very difficult. Understanding the differences between insurance products is even harder. Insurance agents constantly call people like Ali to push products that are not suitable, giving insurance industry a bad name. People like Ali are afraid to buy the wrong policy. We are Smart Choice. We enable everyday Pakistanis like Ali to easily compare insurance plans like car, travel, health, and motorbike insurance, so they understand the coverage they need and buy the right policy at best price. Let me show you how it works. Ali logs on to Smart Choice and he clicks on the health insurance tab. He is prompted to select the type of insurance policy he wants. He selects family. He inputs his personal data, including age and number of people in his family, and then select the type of coverage he wants. Smart Choice filter all the insurance policies that fit Ali's need from all the major insurance companies in Pakistan. Ali can search the hospitals where he can avail treatment under that plan. Ali can dig into the details of the plan that are best fit by clicking more details. Smart Choice makes it easy for people buying insurance for the first time by simplifying the language and removing insurance jargon. So people like Ali can clearly understand what each benefit actually gives him. So there are no surprises at the time of claim. This way, Ali can buy insurance with confidence. Ali goes for Silver plan. He fills out a form to provide additional information about his family health to the insurance company and proceeds to make the payment, selecting from multiple payment options available. Ali proceeds ahead with bank transfer option. Moments later, Ali receives his family policy certificate through email, and his health card is shipped to his home address within a week. Smart Choice makes on an average 20% commission on insurance premium. Pakistan is the 5th largest country in the world with over 220 million citizens. Yet, only 5% of the population is insured. Pakistan's middle class is growing exponentially fast and is estimated to be 84 million. Smart Choice is the largest insurance aggregator that has exclusive partnerships with insurance companies, offering insurance products that are not available anywhere else. We also offer free claims assistance, building long-term value for our customers. I am Siptan. I have 8 years of experience working for Pakistan's largest financial technology company, where I led sales team across Pakistan and Africa, enabling banks to offer Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay card schemes, driving annual recurring revenue of over $3 million. Hunain, my co-founder and CTO, built the technology platform for Vistaprint, managing teams across 3 countries. And he's also a graduate of INSEAD, one of the premier business schools in the world. We are backed by Oman Technology Fund, Gsr Ventures, and SOSV. And we have partnered with Pakistan's top 15 insurance companies and have sold over 14,000 policies. Out of them, 10,000 policy holders have bought insurance for the first time ever. And I'm very happy to announce that we have grown over 3x in the last 12 months. And last month, we hit insurance premium of $85,000. We are raising $1 million to accelerate our growth. Would love to discuss this opportunity to bring insurance to Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Siptan and Smart Choice. So investors, please take a moment to leave some feedback from Smart Choice, indicate your relative interest. And while you are doing so, our next startup is bringing their slides up to the screen. Excellent. Okay, give a few more seconds here to allow people to respond for Smart Choice. Okay, poll is concluded. So let me move on to our next startup. Please help me welcome to the stage our next startup for MOX 11 Demo Day, Swag Kicks.
Thank you, TR. Hello, everyone. So meet Alina. Alina just graduated from a university in Pakistan. She got a job at a very cool digital marketing agency. She follows Kim Kardashian religiously on TikTok and Instagram. She loves Kendall Jenner's style sense. Alina reads Vogue. She is on top of the global fashion trends. Shoes are her thing. Wearing cool, trendy shoes is her way of showing who she is to everyone around her. She loves window shopping with her friends. But the problem in Pakistan is that she can't get the hottest brands like Jordans and New Balances. And the global brands that do have stores in Pakistan carry shoes which are always 2 to 3 years behind. These official stores in Pakistan only have a very limited number of designs. On top of it, all the shoes cost well over $200. That is an entire month's salary for Alina. We are Swag Kicks. We bring the best of global sneaker culture to Pakistan by sourcing and importing used shoes from across the world. We sell pre-loved shoes of all the major brands and the hottest styles for as low as $25. And here's how we do it. So Alina discovers swag kicks on Instagram through her favorite local influencer. She visits the website and is amazed by what she sees. She checks out the women's category and finds all her favorite brands. She selects her size on the size selector, and over 800 sneakers in her size pops up. The prices are reasonable, on an average just $25 per pair, and SwagKicks guarantees every pair of sneakers is authentic. She sees a pair of Asics, a very rare brand in Pakistan, and instantly falls in love. She is able to see a 360-degree view. She checks out the condition, the price, where the Asics were manufactured, where they were imported from. She is also able to check out the unique product code, proving the shoes' authenticity. Alina is confident and decides to buy the Asics. Alina can pay by bank transfer, mobile gateway, or cash on delivery. She chooses cash on delivery. And SwagKicks makes an average of 40% margin on the sale. SwagKicks cherry picks the best pre-loved shoes from stockpiles imported from around the world. The shoes go through a rigorous authentication process. Our team of professionals authenticates the shoes one by one. The selected shoes are disinfected and sanitized at our SwagKicks facility, and then uploaded onto our website where Alina can order from. SwagKicks ships the Asics to Alina through our network of local courier partners. When the delivery person arrives at her office, she can check the quality and see if they fit perfectly before accepting the delivery. She is happy with her shoes and pays the delivery guy. The global sustainable fashion industry is booming right now and is expected to cross $70 billion by 2025. There are 130 million plus millennials and Gen Z like Alina in Pakistan, and $2 billion worth of shoes are sold in Pakistan every single year. SwagKicks stands apart because of our strategic connections with the used shoe importers. We have exclusive deals with 5 of the largest importers, giving us first right to pick. It enables us to drive strong margins and offer the widest selections of brands, nearly 40 brands, that's the most in Pakistan, and over 5,000 unique designs. Our team is led by a set of co-founders with extensive experience in e-commerce, supply chain, and digital marketing. Mateen Ansari, our CBO, has worked for Careem, which is a ride-hailing app out of the Middle East and also the first unicorn out of the Middle East. He has also worked at Daraz, Pakistan's #1 e-commerce platform, recently acquired by Alibaba, and more recently has worked at the Luxury Closet. He has led teams acquiring over 5 million active customers and has expertise in strategy and scaling e-commerce operations. Hamza Abid, our Chief Operating Officer, has extensive experience in creating pre-loved fashion. Over the last 3 years, he has executed $10 million in sale in used fashion trade and has deep expertise in supply chain, global procurement, and operations. I am Naufal Khan. I am the CEO. I co-founded and led a digital marketing agency for the last 5 years, generating over 10 million interactions for brands such as Cadbury, Red Bull, Telenor, over platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I am also a TEDx fellow, and my expertise is brand strategy, content marketing, and design. So our customers spend $50 on an average on the SwagKicks platform. We have served more than 10,000 orders like Alina's. 30% of our customers are repeat purchases, and we are growing at 15% month on month. I'm very proud to announce that we'll be hitting the GMV of $50,000 in August. We are raising $1 million to support the increasing customer demand and allowing mint condition pre-loved shoes a second life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Naufal and SwagKicks. So investors, as in the past, please take a moment to indicate your relative interest in SwagKicks, and we will give this another 10 seconds or so for other people to respond to the poll on the investor side. If you haven't done so already, please do indicate your relative interest in SwagKicks. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So thank you again, Swag Kicks. Next up, please help me welcome our next startup for MOX 11 Demo Day. Please welcome to the stage, Confirm You.
Thanks, DR. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Confirm You. I'd like you to meet Kunal. He's just starting out. He recently landed his first new job in downtown Bangalore. Every day has to commute more than 2.5 hours in an old crowded bus to work. As he gets to the office, he's already worn out from the long ride. He wishes he could afford for himself a cool motorbike that would get him to work faster. So he goes online and researches for motorcycles. He finds this really cool one that best fits him, but unfortunately, it's way too expensive for him. So he applies for a loan with a local bank in Bangalore. Unfortunately, his loan application got rejected. And why? Because he doesn't have any credit history. He applies with more than one loan institution, but every time he applies, his loan application gets rejected again and again. Kunal is losing hope. He sees his life dreams walk away from him. Traditional credit scoring relies on one major factor, which is your credit history. And if you don't have one, you basically won't be able to get a loan. There are more than 2 billion people in Asia, just like Kunal, who lack access to credit because they don't have credit history. They can't get a loan even if they have really good jobs. By rejecting these kind of loans, lenders lose more than $1 trillion in annual revenues globally. We're Confirm You, and we're here to change that. We generate credit scores based on psychometrics and behavioral traits. Let me show you how this works. Kunal would apply for a motorbike loan. He would go onto the bank website, fill out a loan application form, and then the bank would raise a request with the credit bureau, which in turn would raise a rejection because they won't find any records over Kunal, and this would result in a loan rejection by the bank. Now, as a last resort, the bank would then propose Kunal, hey, why don't you play this really fun game by Confirm You? It's based on psychometrics and behavioral traits. All you need to do is select an avatar, get on a motorbike, ride on a congested highway, bypass the car, walk into a shop, and then bargain with the seller on the best price that fits you, and meet a friend at a cafe and get an urgent call. Once this is done, Confirm You would send an online score to the lender, and then the lender can make an educated decision on whether to approve or reject the loan. Fortunately, Kunal did really well in the game. He scored high, his motorbike loan got approved, and the bank was really happy because he was able to disburse the loan and make money from Confirm You's game. There are more than 3.7 billion people across the world who lack access to credit because they don't have any credit history. Again, this means that lenders are losing more than $1 trillion in annual revenues. Throughout our 3-minute non-invasive game, we can credit assess everyone regardless of age, gender, ethnic origin, or loan repayment history. This is financial inclusion in making. We're a team of global entrepreneurs with background in credit risk, psychology, and tech. I'm Yatir, CEO and founder of Confirm You. I've helped global corporates such as Verint and Stratasys grow their revenues by more than $40 million by changing their business processes. With Confirm You, I'm helping traditional lenders reimagine their business processes to grow their business. Claire, our CRO, is our credit domain expert in the company, and she also leads the revenue track. She spent most of her career working with global credit bureaus such as FICO and TransUnion, and most recently, she grew a credit scoring startup from the UK from 3 employees to 42 and led it to a successful exit as a managing director. Raju is our CTO. He's an ex-chief architect from Intuit, a visiting scholar from MIT, and owns more than 30 patents under his name. And together, we've seen more than 27,000 consumers engaged through our game, more than 10,000 loans disbursed by our lending partner, 0.6% default rate on those loans, and we've acquired more than 122 million data points. We've also seen our revenue pipeline grow 50% month over month, accumulated to $3 million. We're fundraising $1 million, where 200,000 have already been committed. We welcome you to join on this magical journey to help 3.7 billion people across the world who can't get a loan to get a loan, just like Kunal did, using Confirm Use Game. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yatir. And that was Confirm You. So investors, again, please take your time and indicate your relative interest in Confirm You. And while we are doing so, our next startup is getting their slides ready and up. All right, still need a few more seconds here to allow people to respond to the poll. And as soon as we're done with that, we will move to our next startup. Okay, the poll has officially ended for Confirm You. Thank you again, Confirm You. All right, next up, please help me welcome our last but not least startup for MOX 11 Demo Day, Pick My Work.
Thank you so much, TR. Welcome, everybody. Meet Ravi. Ravi lives in New Delhi. Ravi recently quit his job and joined with two friends to start a fintech startup called EasyPay. EasyPay is a bookkeeping app that helps millions of mom and pop stores in India to digitize their businesses. Every day, Ravi's team visited many mom and pop stores to sign them up on his platform. The sales team, they did a great job, and his platform saw wonderful traction. Investors, they got excited seeing the traction. Ravi and his co-founders, they raised a Series A round. But now, Ravi had a big problem on his hands. He had all the cash, but he needs to scale his platform to the 75 million mom and pop stores across all India. To target ads to shop. But it freaking did not work because shop owners were not there on social media. Ravi considered scaling up an in-house sales team. But then he did the math. It would take him 3 years to reach his 2021 targets alone because he would need to recruit sales, pay them a base salary, and then train them up before seeing any traction. With an army of salespeople well on a paper task model. Let me show you how it works. Ravi visits the Pick My Work website. He posts a job for EasyPay sales, starts filling all the basic details, mentions the amount that the gig worker can earn, and puts up a deadline. After he does this, Ravi starts tagging locations where he wants the Pick My Work army. So he tags Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, Kolkata, and many more cities across India where he wants Pick My Work gig workers. Once this is done, boom, the project live goes across all cities in India. And now the gig worker on the mobile phone on the Pick My Work app is able to see the EasyPay project. Once the gig worker sees the EasyPay project, clicks on apply, watches a beautiful job description video explaining what needs to be done for EasyPay, books a telephonic interview slot, with Pick My Work. Once the telephonic interview is completed, the gig worker is given a job offer. The gig worker reviews the work contract that is available and then signs on it digitally. Once the work contract is signed, the gig worker is put into a training loop on the Pick My Work platform, where the gig worker is supposed to answer questions basis his understanding of what work needs to be done for EasyPay. Once this is done, the gig worker starts working for tasks for EasyPay and submits the details of the sale, as you can see here. Once the details are submitted, Ravi, still sitting in his office, is able to see on the dashboard the number of shops that are digitized, and Ravi and businesses pay $4 to us per shop digitized. We take 50% commission and pass on the rest to the gig worker. The market size is huge, as internet companies spend close to $6 billion every year to acquire and retain customers. We automate training and gamify performance to drive user acquisition through on-field gigs. This happens in a very little time at the fraction of the cost. This is how we stand out. Our team is led by 3 co-founders with deep experience in product development, sales, and operations. We know each other from the last 8 years, and this is our second startup together. I'm Vidyarthi. I have 8 years of product development experience working at Deloitte and General Electric. I received multiple awards from Deloitte for project execution, working with large clients like Biogen and Revlon. Kajal comes with 7 years of experience in sales. She oversaw sales at the flagship hospitality co-founder with operations experience. He has worked in high pressure environments at intensive care units in hospitals at CK Birla. He also worked with AstraZeneca and was managing sales and operations across multiple cities in India. All the 3 of us, we are also graduates from the premier B schools in India, FMS and IIM Ahmedabad. Pick My Work has now scaled up to 25 cities in India. We are working with many notable names like Google Pay, Amazon Pay, OK Credit, Insurance Dekho, and digital shops every month. The number of tasks completed on Pick My Work has grown by 25% in the last 3 months. Very interestingly, since the second wave of COVID hit in India in April, all internet companies are looking to cut down their costs, and hence our inbound client requests have grown by 50%. Happy and proud to 12 months. All this while building a profitable business model. We are raising 1.5 million USD and 300,000 has already been committed. We are backed by SOSV and CIIE. Join us to ramp up the gig worker supply and change the future of work in India and Southeast Asia. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Vidyarthi. And Pick My Work. Investors, please take a moment to indicate your relative interest in Pick My Work by responding to the pop-up form. Okay. I think we have most of the people who have responded. Give it another couple seconds for people to respond to the poll. And yeah, I think we are just about there. So I want to say on behalf of SOSV, on behalf of the entire MOX team, our community of mentors, alumni, thank you all so much for taking the time to learn more about our MOX 11 startups and their amazing founders. And this ends our Demo Day public stream on YouTube, Facebook, and live in person in Shanghai and Taipei. For the investors, please stay on with us here and give us a second to